You know that feeling, right? Your best marketing ideas are just sitting there, dying a slow death in the development queue. Well, there's a new wave of AI that's about to completely change the game. And no, we're not just talking about writing copy anymore. We're talking about AI agents that are giving marketers some serious new superpowers.
I mean, just think about that for a second. That brilliant idea you had for a lead gen calculator or an interactive quiz, what if you could just skip the entire dev queue and, build it yourself today? This is the exact problem these new tools were born to solve.
We have all been there. It's what I call dev purgatory. You could also call it the translation gap. It's that painful space between your creative concept and the technical work needed to make it real. Honestly, it's probably the #1 killer of marketing momentum. So, here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with that big bottleneck, then introduce the AI agents that are blowing it up. We'll walk through 5 specific superpowers they give you, get real about what they promise versus how they actually perform, and finally, talk about what this all means for your job as a marketer. Right, so this friction, it's not just annoying, it's a real strategic problem. It slows down your ability to innovate. It delays campaigns, and it means some of your best ideas just never happen. But that's all about to change. Enter the era of AI agents. This isn't just another small step forward. It's a totally new way of working that directly bridges that gap between having a great idea and actually executing on it.
So what in the world is agentic AI? Look, it's not just a fancy chatbot. These are autonomous systems. You give them a goal, and they create a plan, they write the code, and they can even find and fix their own mistakes. The best analogy? It's like having a digital project manager and a super capable junior developer all rolled into one, and they work 24/7. Now, this whole ecosystem is just exploding, but we're going to focus on some of the key players really shaping this new marketing landscape. Google's new platform, Antigravity, which is powered by their Gemini 3 engine, alongside automation giants like Zapier and NN, who are really stepping up their game.
Okay, this is the heart of it all. We've drilled down and found 5 distinct superpowers that these new tools are putting directly into the hands of marketers right now.
Let's start with superpower number 1, deep ecosystem integration. This number you see here, 73%. That's Android's share of the global market. By baking its Gemini 3 AI right into the Android operating system, Google is giving marketers a massive, massive surface area for reach right out of the box. And it's not just on mobile. I mean, come on. With a 93% market share, Google Search is basically the front door to the internet. Putting Gemini directly into search makes things, as one CEO put it, sharper and faster. And in an AI-driven world, that speed is absolutely critical for staying visible. Superpower number 2 is all about building these powerful agent workflows without writing a single line of code. Platforms like Google's Antigravity use structured flows, like this one, to take on really complex tasks. We're talking about going from zero to a full-blown strategy presentation in like an hour, not weeks. So how do you do it? Well, you use something people are starting to call vibe coding. You just describe what you want. You give it the function and the vibe of the tool in plain English, and the AI agent figures out the plan, writes the code, and builds the thing for you. Just let that sink in for a minute. Plain English is the new programming language. Okay, on to superpower number 3, enterprise-grade security. And this one is so important. You've got established players like Zapier Enterprise offering serious, robust compliance like SOC 2 and single sign-on. But then you have new tools like Antigravity, which, while super powerful, are still in a preview stage and have been flagged for a critical security gap. The takeaway is really simple. Do not connect these new tools to your live production systems without triple-checking their security. Our 4th superpower is all about scaling your automations without completely blowing your budget. This chart shows you the difference. Zapier charges you for every single task, which can get really expensive for complicated workflows. But a tool like N8N, especially if you host it yourself, charges you per execution. That means a 10-step workflow costs the same to run as a 1-step workflow. It's a game changer for high-volume stuff like programmatic SEO or hyper-personalized email campaigns. And that brings us to superpower number 5, enforcing brand consistency at scale. This is a big one. Google Antigravity is rolling out something called a global skills system. It basically lets you create custom instructions, things like your brand style guide or specific best practices, and then every single agent in your organization has to follow those rules. This could finally solve one of the biggest challenges of using AI in marketing, keeping that consistent brand voice. But
and you knew there was a but coming, here's the reality check on that promise. Early reports show that right now, these agents often struggle to balance competing directives. So while the foundation is there to enforce your brand voice, the actual performance, it's just not consistent yet. This is definitely an area where you still need a human in the loop.
Which leads us perfectly into this next really important section, navigating the reality of these tools as they exist today. Because with all this power comes, well, some pretty significant bugs and limitations that you absolutely need to know about.
Yeah, this quote from the developer community really says it all. The anti-gravity paperweight controversy comes from a ton of user frustration. A lot of people feel like there was a bait and switch, where the amazing performance they saw at first got throttled way back, leaving them with a tool that's just not reliable.
People are reporting some really specific problems, getting locked out of their accounts for days, agents literally undoing the work they just did, all sorts of bugs. So if you're going to dive in, you need a survival guide. Here are a few key strategies people are using. Bundle your prompts together to manage the agent's limited capacity. Use a stop and continue workflow to test things. And, this is crucial, commit every single tiny successful change to a version control system like Get.
So after all that, what does this mean for you, for your career? It points to a fundamental shift in what it means to be a marketer. You're moving away from being the person who does all the manual work, and you're becoming an agent manager, a strategist, an orchestrator.
And when you look at the whole competitive landscape, you can see the trade-offs. Antigravity's biggest strength is that deep Google integration, but it's unstable. A tool like Windsurf is secure and ready for production, but it's a bit harder for non-coders to get started with. Then you have Cursor with a huge ecosystem, but it's more expensive and not really built for orchestration. So you have to pick the right tool for the job.
So really, the most important point is this. Your value is no longer just in doing the work. It's in your ability to strategically direct a team of AI agents to execute your vision faster and better than was ever possible before. You are the conductor of this new orchestra.
And that leaves us with one final question. The technology is here, right now, even with all its flaws. When your competition can build and deploy an entire campaign in a single day, the real question isn't if you should adopt these tools. It's can you really truly afford to wait? The race is already started, and the marketers who learn how to orchestrate these new AI agents are the ones who are going to win.